Asking for help isn't always hard at first. For many, it's a natural instinct when we're young. But over time, something changes. The instinct fades. It becomes difficult. Especially when people around you, whether they say it or not, expect you to handle everything alone. You start hearing subtle messages, not always in words, but in expectations. The message is clear: figure it out yourself. This isn't a single event. It's a slow, quiet conditioning. It begins when you're praised for being independent, for not needing anyone. As a child, you might have been called so mature for your age because you didn't cry for attention or ask for assistance with your homework. This praise feels good. It becomes a part of your identity. You are the one who has it all together. Then roles begin to form. You might be the oldest sibling, the reliable friend, the high-achieving employee. These roles come with unspoken duties. People look to you for stability, for answers. Asking for help feels like you're failing at your job, letting down the image everyone has of you. You start to believe that your value is tied to your self-sufficiency. Each time you solve a problem on your own, the belief gets stronger. The gap between needing help and asking for it widens. A deeper fear also starts to grow, the fear of being a burden. You've seen others react with a sigh, a moment of hesitation, or a polite but strained yes when asked for a favor. You remember those moments. You tell yourself you never want to make someone else feel that way. You don't want to be an inconvenience. So you start calculating the cost of your requests. Is this problem big enough to justify bothering someone? Most of the time you decide it isn't. It's easier, safer to just deal with it. You carry the weight, reassuring yourself that it's better this way. This is how the habit of silence is built, one unspoken need at a time. Over time, handling things alone starts to feel not just necessary, but easier. There's a strange comfort in it. A primary reason for this is control. When you are the only person involved in solving a problem, you control the entire process. You set the pace, you make the decisions, and you determine the outcome. There are no other variables, no one else's schedule to coordinate, no one else's opinion to consider. This sense of control can be incredibly seductive, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. It creates a predictable bubble where you are the sole architect of your solutions. You don't have to explain the nuances of your situation or justify your feelings to anyone. You just do what needs to be done on your own terms. Then there's pride. Not the arrogant kind, but a quiet internal pride in your own resilience. Every challenge overcome alone reinforces the idea that you are strong, capable, and self-reliant. This becomes a core part of how you see yourself. Asking for help can feel like admitting defeat, like confessing a weakness you've worked so hard to hide. It can feel like puncturing the very identity you've built. You might think, I've handled worse than this before, I can handle this too. It's a self-affirming loop. The more you succeed on your own, the more you feel compelled to continue doing so, protecting that image of the person who never breaks and never needs an anchor. Another powerful motivator is the desire to avoid disappointment. When you ask someone for help, you are vulnerable. You are placing a piece of your well-being in their hands. And there's always a chance they might say no. Or they might say yes but fail to deliver in the way you hoped. They might not understand the urgency, or they might offer a solution that doesn't fit. Each of these outcomes carries a sting of disappointment. It can feel worse than the original problem itself. Handling it alone eliminates that risk entirely. You can't be let down by others if you never rely on them in the first place. It's a preemptive defense mechanism. You choose the certainty of your own effort, even if it's harder, over the uncertainty of someone else's support. It feels like the safer bet, a way to manage expectations by having none at all. This is why the solitary path can feel so much more straightforward, even as it becomes lonelier. But this solitary path has a cost, an emotional toll that accumulates quietly over the years. The most immediate cost is a profound sense of isolation. On the surface, you might be surrounded by friends, family, and colleagues. You might be sociable and engaged, but internally, you are operating on a separate island. You carry your struggles in a silent space that no one else can enter because you've then never given them the key. This creates a disconnect between your inner world and your outer life. You can be in a room full of people who care about you and still feel completely alone because the most significant parts of your experience, your worries, your fears, your burdens remain hidden. No one truly knows what you're going through because you've become an expert at showing them only the capable, put-together version of yourself. This constant management of perception and problems leads to a silent exhaustion. It's not just the physical tiredness from doing everything yourself. It's a deep emotional drain. Every day you expend energy not only on solving problems but also on maintaining the facade that you do and have any. It's like holding a heavy weight that no one else can see. You have to pretend it isn't there, smile through the strain, and keep moving forward as if you're carrying nothing at all. This constant performance is depleting. Over time, it erodes your reserves of energy, leaving you feeling weary to your core, a tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. Perhaps the most painful cost is the feeling of being unseen. When you never ask for help, you inadvertently teach people that you don't need it. They see you as the strong one, the one who can handle anything. They admire your resilience. But in doing so, they miss the vulnerability that lies beneath. They don't see the effort, the struggle, the moments of doubt. They see the result, not the process. You might crave for someone to notice the strain, to look past the capable exterior and ask if you're really okay. But since you've trained yourself and everyone around you to believe the performance, that rarely happens. You become a victim of your own success at being self-sufficient. You feel invisible, your true state overlooked, even by those closest to you. The very people you protect from being burdened are the ones who can no longer see your burden at all. In the long term, never asking for help reshapes your relationships and your inner world. One of the most significant impacts is the creation of emotional distance. True intimacy is built on vulnerability, on sharing not just the good times, but the difficult ones too. When you consistently withhold your struggles, you are withholding a fundamental part of yourself. You prevent others from getting truly close to you. Your relationships might be warm and friendly, but they remain on a surface level. People know what you do, but they don't know how you feel. This distance isn't intentional, but it's an inevitable byproduct of self-reliance. Over time, you might find yourself feeling like an outsider in your own life, observing your relationships from afar rather than fully participating in them. The walls you build to protect yourself and others end up boxing you in. Consequently, your support system begins to shrink. Not because people don't care, but because they have learned that you won't reach out. A support network is like a muscle. It needs to be used to stay strong. When you never call on it, it gradually weakens. Friends and family might stop offering help because they assume you don't want it, or because your repeated refusals have taught them not to. They adapt to your independence. So when a crisis hits, when you're truly overwhelmed and find you can't handle it alone, you may find that the pathways for receiving help have gone dormant. You haven't practiced the art of receiving, and they haven't practiced the art of giving to you. You're left with a diminished capacity to accept support at the very moment you need it most. Internally, the pressure continues to build. The voice in your head that once said, "I can handle this," now says, "I must handle this." There is no other option. This internal pressure can become a relentless driver of stress and anxiety. You live with a constant, low-grade fear of the one problem that will be too big to solve on your own, the one that will finally make you break. This isn't strength, it's brittleness. The longer you go without asking for help, the more fragile your carefully constructed world becomes. The self-reliant identity that once felt like a source of pride becomes a cage, locking you into a cycle of silent struggle and escalating internal demands. Not asking for help doesn't make you strong forever. It just makes you tired quietly. The strength you project might be hiding a fragility that deserves to be seen and supported. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing.